Page 14, what child is this? Well, I'll go through my routine and see what happens. I look it over, I see it's 2 pages long, but it's got repeat signs and endings, so it's actually going to be longer than that. Treble and bass clef at the beginning at least. No sharps or flats in the key signature, so it's either in C major or A minor. Now if I look at the end, bottom page 15, it's here. It's ending on an A major chord. That's known as a Picardy third. It's actually an A minor. They're just ending it on a cheerful note. So this was quite common back in the Middle Ages. It was expected. A minor piece, they would expect to end it on a major, on the parallel major. So an A minor would end on an A major chord. It's an A minor. Just make sure you can do the scales for C major and A minor, because those don't have any sharps or flats in them. 3/4 time signature. Let's do one hand at a time, make sure I understand what the hands are doing. Now the first line is introduction. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, okay. Then measure 5. It's 2, because at the end of the first line you're here, and then you just come up here 2. 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2. 2. Now they say here, the style of fingering that I use and teach is I don't cross over the thumb if I don't have to. And I don't have to here. Now that F sharp in the measure 6, some arrangements of this will actually have an F natural. They will leave it there, but this one does it's sort of a Mixolydian thing. And then, but for measure 7, just reach down into 2, 1. So I can catch all those in one hand position. So in measure 7, it's 3, and then 2. Just stay here. And then measure 10, you 3. I change on the A's. Thumb. And then they want you to come up. You can if you want to, because you got to lift up anyway. And you do it again. Now, measure 17. If you don't want to be up in here, because you got fat fingers, you don't fit. Actually, you only play in black keys. You might be, because you can come back out here for the A. If you don't want to do that, then put a thumb on the A and cross over 3. Here. Otherwise, their fingering is fine. Now, the last 2 measures of the page, on page 14, these, I recommend a second finger for the F natural. That way the thumb is ready for that. I don't want to use thumb for both, if I can help it. So, starting at measure 15, just reach down here. And then measure 21, you got to come up here. You got 1 beat rest. 2, 3, 1, 2. Now you got to cross over. That's fine. Left hand. Well, here. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Get the F. Then here. And then you're here. And that's tied for 2 measures. Then you come down 1. That's tied for 2 measures. Isn't this fun? Keep going down. We're not there yet. Then you 1 beat rest to come up and do it again. Go over to page 15, measure 21, your broken chord. Now up here, depending on the music, the fingering in the book is fine because I'm just using a 1, 3, 5 on all the chords. However, when it does this, I tend to want to use the 4th finger to help out. So at measure 23, I'm going to use 4. That way my little finger's ready for the next measure. And again 4. Now I'm ready. I can use 2 on the then 4. Now little finger. You could actually use 3 there if you wanted. Now, it just helps out a little bit. Put the hands together. It's 1 and 2, 3. 1. It's actually, the left hand isn't doing much. So let's go over to measure 21. Here. once I have a hand sort of working together, then I go back through and get rid of the hesitation so it's a steady beat. And then I go through and think about the articulation. And here it's pretty connected. They don't give you much articulation or anything. I'm suggesting connect the phrases and lift up between them. And you can follow the sentences in the words as to where the phrases are. It's one sentence, one thought. So then I'm going to lift up. Got to lift up anyway. You can move. The idea is you're taking a breath. So I'm going to lift up between the sentences in the right hand. I'll connect the left hand as best I can, but I need to lift up for the rest. And then the dynamics. P at the beginning is piano, and that's both hands here. There's no real melody. Whatever you think soft is. And then you have a hairpin there. Go up to moderately soft. Back down to soft. Now we're at moderately soft. In the right hand. The left hand is very soft. You come down at the end of a phrase, and then back up. Measure 21, now you go up to moderately loud. In the right hand, the left hand's in background. You come down a little bit. I don't know how much, you just come down to moderately soft maybe. And then measure 29, now you're very soft. The left hand's super soft. Come up a little bit to moderately loud. You see the hairpin, I'll measure 32. Up to moderately soft. And then a little lower. Yeah, you put in the dynamics. As far as the speed goes, I tend to rush it because I want to get through the video. It's a very smooth piece. I mean, I missed it before. You see above measure 5, it says legato. That's your connection. That's your curved lines. That's telling you to connect it. I already told you to connect it. Okay. But on the speed, how fast would you sing it? Don't drag it. It doesn't work on piano. It has to flow, but flow gentle. They say flow smoothly. Well, okay, whatever. This is going to be pedal pretty legato, pretty connected. I'm going to put the notes down first and then the pedal. At the beginning, notes first, then pedal. Change the pedal after play the note. And they sing, they're going to have all that together. I don't want that. And that measure 4, I don't want all of this. So I'm going to lift up for beat 3. So in measure 4, it's here. I'm going to lift up with the hands and now pedal beat 3. And now pedal measure 5. But this is too much. It's too blurry. So I'm going to change the pedal at the bar line. Here, measure 5 is here. And change it, measure 6. Change. Change. I'm changing on every bar line. Here. On measure 12, it's like at the beginning, I'm not pedaling it. So I'm going to lift up here. Change, 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 change. Here. Now that left hand there at the bottom of the page is tied. You're just doing that. Then lift up with the rest, so we hear the silence here. And then go up. Change. So I'm changing at every measure here, just to keep it cleaned out. Now in measure, 35 or whatever, it's the first ending, first and second ending, it says, again, I'm lifting up, and I'm not pedaling that beat, because when I repeat back up to measure 5, I'm not pedaling that beat. It's like it was at the beginning. And on the second end, or the third ending there, here, again, I'm going to lift up. So there's a little silence before I do the coda. And here at in. And again, you can do that fade out pedal I've been talking about, where you simply lift the keys up, keep the hands on the keys, just lift the keys up, and then slowly lift the pedal up, and the sound should slowly die away so it fades out. Now the endings there on page 15, you see the first one is a 1, 2, and then there's a 3. This is the way they can do endings. They combine them. So there's multiple verses on page 5. And this is where you would repeat back for the different verses. So you do that first ending twice if you want. Now you're only going to do it for the verses. If you're not going to repeat, you skip that ending and go directly to the third ending. You have to adjust it as you need to. Please don't copy me. That's just one way of doing it. And I didn't do all the verses because I'm not singing, and I just did a couple. It's up to you on how you do that. Keep in mind, as far as the pedaling goes, it's all suggestions. All these markings in the books are suggestions. Anything I say is just a suggestion. If you have a teacher, what they're telling you is not really a suggestion. Do what they're telling you to do while you study under them, and then it becomes a suggestion. Because some of this I wouldn't need to really pedal at all. It's measure 5. I don't really need to pedal that, but it's a drier sound. It's like I'm only pedaling every other measure. Just you experiment with the pedal and see what the effect is, and adjust it as to what you like, because you're interpreting the music. You make it yours.